This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Most importantly, thanks for listening. This is Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. It's all powered by Bowen Wealth. You can get more when you visit bowenwealth.com, and you can find that and all the information in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. Brandon, let's have a discussion about that dirty, dirty word.
Okay.
Taxes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. Nobody likes it. Everybody's thinking about it this time of the year. We're starting to get our W-2s in the mail and starting to get those emails saying, hey, your tax form is ready. We're always thinking about taxes, not just something in April. And the national debt out of control right now. Like, for comparison, back in 1994, it was $4.7 trillion. Now, Brandon, over $36 trillion.
From 94.
94.
In 1994, it was 4.7 to now 36. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I know, right? You know, big conversation. We've had it here before on Charleston's Retirement Coach about the Trump tax cuts. You know, Donald President Trump, he wants to get those extended. We'll see what's going to happen. But sooner or later, regardless of what happens, $36 trillion, we're going to have to start paying that down. You know, Doge can only do so much. So what kind of planning can we do now to take advantage of these lower tax rates?
To put it in perspective, Mark, I did the math. It's like a household income. You listening, it's like you have a household income of $50,000 a year, but you've got a credit card bill that comes each month with a debt of $330,000.
Yeah, that math doesn't work.
You talk about not opening your mail. Nope. If I never saw it, it's not, you know.
But if I just take my mailbox out of the ground, maybe the mail won't come.
That's right. That's
out of
right.
sight, out of mind.
That's how we've been acting as a country here.
Pretty much.
We can't even balance a budget, you know, much less like start eating into it,
right?
And knocking down some of this debt here. It's crazy. So so we either have to, the government either has to spend less or tax more. Okay. And like you just said, hopefully Doge is working on that. And we are trying to spend less. Higher taxes are coming. You wait till the political winds shift again and it goes back the other direction, then, higher taxes and high income is going to be vilified and you're the wealthy and you're not paying your fair share and all this stuff, right? So all of that is coming. But here at Bowen Wealth, I like to say that you've got to work with an advisor who knows how the game is played. Let's start playing the game and let's start winning. You've been doing this long enough where it's like you're just taking it, like you have no defenses. You have, I pay what I got to pay.
People aren't adults. We're fearful of the IRS. We are terrified that if we make one mistake on our taxes, they're going to come after us. So you know what? I'm just going to pay what they tell me to pay and just hopefully fly under the radar.
It's like if you got a favorite team and they're getting dogged, they're getting beat in the first half. You're going to be like, come, let's fight. Let's do something. I know we've got some skill. We got some good players out there. Let's start winning here. What can we do? What can we control? Let's start trying to put ourselves in the best position to succeed. Okay.
843-890-2400 to reach out to Brandon and the team at Bowen Wealth. What can we do? How can we get back to the winning ways on taxes?
Yeah. So here's what we can do. So you've got to understand the rules. And so we have a progressive tax system. Okay. A lot of people mistakenly think, let's say you finish because of your taxes and your CPA says, okay, you're in the 22% tax bracket. A lot of people, over 50% of the people, believe that all of their money is taxed at 22% or at 12 if you're in the 12% bracket. So no, we have a bracket here. The first bracket is at 10%. Okay. We can make a certain amount of money there at 10. Then it goes up to 12%. The next bucket of money is taxed at 12. Then we have our biggest jump in the tax code, a 10% jump up to 22%. But get this, understand that every dollar has its own bracket. So even if we go over to the next bracket by $1, don't think, oh my gosh, what did I do? No, that $1 has to pay more taxes. So once you understand that, that's the first thing to understand. The second is if you have a large tax deferred bucket of money, okay, and that would be your 401ks, IRAs, stuff that you have not paid taxes on. If you've got a sizable amount there, and I would say sizable being $500,000 or more, if you've done what you were supposed to do during your working years and you contributed to your 401k, you got the match. You were told to do that to lessen your taxes then. Well, now you've got a bit of a problem. You've got kind of a tax bomb here, if you will. Okay, so if you've got a lot of tax deferred money and you're not maximizing your taxes each year, then that's the problem. That's the first area that we can address. So let me tell you, here's a story. This is the best way that I can explain it. So these clients, they are retired now. They live in Mount Pleasant. They came in several years ago. I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And they had saved about $1.5 million in their tax deferred accounts. And I say, congratulations. Very good. They wanted our plan. They'd been listening to the show and the podcast. And so they came in. And so we put the plan together and I showed them, we looked at, okay, you guys have income totaling about $125,000 before you even get out of bed. And they were like, yeah, we love that. It feels so good that we've got 2 nice Social Security checks and we've got an old school pension.
Lucky.
Yes, lucky. So they're in retirement and they've got 125 coming in. Okay. Even if they had no money, if they were, completely broke, they still have 125. Okay. So that's what's so nice about guaranteed income. And I said, okay, time out. So you guys have that. So you're never going to be below that 125. In fact, it's just going to go higher because of the cost of living adjustments and things. And they said, yes. So these clients now, they're firmly in that 22% tax bracket. Now, here's the choice that a lot of people, I bet you listening, is you might think, okay, well, that's all we need. Let's say that is all you need. Okay, let's say you only need $125,000 of expenses. That's your fund money, your standard of living. That's some vacations, things like that. I say let's not stop right there because we've still got room for another about, say, $80,000 that we can convert from the tax deferred bucket over to a Roth IRA. Okay. At that same 22% tax bracket. So that's what you want to think about. Okay. How much room do I have in my current tax bracket that I'm at? I don't want to push us into the next one, but how much room do we have in that? And if you've got a big bucket that's got to come over at some point, because remember at 73 is when your required minimum distributions start. And so the government then now forces you to start taking distributions. And who knows what tax brackets might be by the time you turn 73. But then let's say you pass away and you still have all this money over there in your IRAs. Well, that's now a massive tax bomb to your inheritance. To your children, when you pass this money on. So that's what we want to look at. And so what we've been doing for my clients here is they only needed that 125. So we've been doing about $50,000 conversions for the past 4 years for them. And so here's what we're proactively paying that tax at 22%. We have the net amount it goes into the Roth. And once it goes into that Roth, it's like a black hole to the government. It vanishes on them. Okay. They cannot see that Roth IRA anymore. They can't tax it anymore. Your growth is all tax-free.
Is it like Uncle Sam's kryptonite?
That's right, Uncle Sam's kryptonite. So we're moving this behind the curtain to the government, and so we can now pursue growth, and all that growth and all that inheritance is going to be completely tax-free for them. Future income, future retirement income, when we need to pull more, if we want to pull more, they want to do a fun trip, vacation, $20,000 for a month in Europe or whatever, or down to Africa, whatever they want to do. When we go to pull some of that money out, well, we can do that completely tax-free because they're over 59 and a half. They've had it open for 5 years or longer. So our principal and our growth is tax-free coming out of that Roth IRA. So that is really where I want to get all of my clients is maximizing every year, especially once you retire. Okay. If you're still working, you're trying to make as much money as you can right now. But once you retire, if that income comes down a little bit and you've now got a baseline where you're never going to be less than a certain amount of money, I want to make sure that we fill up all of that tax bracket here, either with, income for you to enjoy or do Roth conversions for enjoyment later.
843-890-2400 to reach out to Brandon Bowen and the team at Bowen Wealth. And you mentioned Roth there. Is that something that more people should be taking advantage of? You've said it before, taxes are on sale. And a Roth is beneficial of the sale on taxes.
Yeah, think of a Roth. I mean, I love what you just said, like the kryptonite to the government. I fully expect for them to do away with a Roth IRA at some point, right? Because why would they?
Because they're not getting any money out of it.
I know. When Congressman Roth introduced this legislation, it was beautiful back then, and yes, and I think especially if you've got room within your current tax bracket, let's do that. Let's start utilizing something that basically takes the power away from the government as far as taxing your growth. We do pay them off. So again, this is legal. We're not doing anything illegal here. We're not going to get a flag. We're not going to get penalized. We're actually saying, hey, here you go. Let me pay you some more taxes. Right? Let's pay you more taxes here just so we can go ahead and get this money. It's like a game of Red Rover. You think about that. You played while you were, a kid.
Red Rover, and brand them right over.
That's right. So we've got to send this money. We got to when are you going to bring this money over from your tax deferred account over to your hands, right? And bring it into your accounts here. And the government is standing in between, Congress, they're standing there ready for this income to happen. And if we don't proactively make a plan and a strategy here, then they can start changing the game on tax brackets, RMD rules, inheritance, all these things that are very subtle, very subtle. And that's one thing that they did change with the Secure Act was when we passed our money down to our children. Well, now they can't stretch out that IRA like we could for the rest of their life. Now they have to fully deplete that account within 10 years. So that's going to force big withdrawals, if not all of it, then on that 10th year. Okay, so they'll make small changes here that's going to only benefit them, of course. So let's build that plan. Let's start taking steps, taking action. Don't let another year go by where you aren't proactively fighting for your best interests.
Brandon's always fighting for your best interests. So, Brandon, how can we reach out to you and the team at Bowen Wealth to have a deeper conversation about taking advantage of these low tax rates right now?
Pick up the phone, and I would say if you've got $500,000 or more, we've got people with double-digit millions calling, either listening to the show here, to the podcast. So call in. I want to give you this second opinion. And what we will focus in right here is our income tax review. Help you look at, are you being efficient on your income right now? Are there things that you're walking right past? And you don't even know it because, I'm not mad at your CPA or your tax attorney, but a lot of times they're so busy. They're trying to turn so many returns for everybody and get you in, get you out, charge you, a couple $100, whatever. They move on to the next one. They're not doing proactive planning. How can we make this better for you next year? Okay. That's where I come in and I want to take a look at what you're doing. Maybe bring in your returns if you've already done them for 24, but we'll put this plan together. Pick up the phone, shoot us a text right now or a phone call. That number is 843-890-2400. Again, 843-890-2400. Give us a call. Tanya is standing by. She'll answer that call. Shoot a text. You could text the word tax review. Okay, tax review, and we will get started on your plan right away.
Let's sit down with Brandon Bowen and the team at Bowen Wealth to discuss your tax strategy. 843-890-2400. Text the word tax review right now to that same number. 843-890-2400. And Brandon also mentioned the podcast. It's called Charleston's Retirement Coach. You can hear this weekend show, plus a full archive, all commercial free. Again, Charleston's Retirement Coach, wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you can get more on the website, bowenwealth.com. I want to talk about an opportunity that people seem to love or hate depending on the market. It's the 60-40 portfolio, Brandon. 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Took a pretty big hit in 2022, but the 60-40 plan now is up 15% for 2 years in a row. So what can we expect in 2025? I want you to hear this clip from Morningstar's Jason Kephart.
I think you always want to keep a longer mindset with a 60-40 portfolio. In 2008, it lost more than 30%. 2022 was down almost 20%. So this is not a one-year investment. This should be like 5 to 10 years minimum time frame. But having said that, yes, stocks are more expensive now than they were a year ago. Bond yields are starting to come down. So you might want to check your expectations a little bit, and another 15% plus return might not be in the cards, but then it might. But there are some risks, I think, that are really pertinent to kind of investors keep in mind in 2025.
So do you agree with Jason Kephart's thoughts there on a 60-40 portfolio?
I do, yes. Yeah. So, I believe, 60-40 portfolio, yes, that's what we do for our clients is, stay nice and balanced. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have clients that say, I want a 40-60, maybe only like 40% in risky stuff and then 60%, most of my money, more defensive, things like that. So it's all personal taste. Usually the ladies want a little more stability, more conservative portfolios, things like that. But here's what I want to say is, a 60-40 portfolio, just something bland like a 60-40 fund or whatever. This is where the wealthy separate themselves and they rise to the top. They separate themselves from the average investor and the average portfolio by putting this plan together and customizing their 60-40 model. And totally, this is where doing this planning process and this customization, this is where I earn my fee. As a financial advisor, every part of your financial house, we take a look at it and we try to find you what we believe is the best, most efficient position for those dollars. Here's how we have done it. Let me give you this story here. They came in from Somerville, had saved $3 million. $3 million. And they said, Brandon, we want that portfolio X-ray that you've talked about a few weeks ago. And he said, I was talking to him. I was like, okay, well, do you have an advisor? And like, yes, we've got someone, we've been working with them for a long time, but they said, quote, I'm just tired of all the excuses. Tired of all the excuses, because you might be listening to and going like, well, yeah, I'm in a 60-40, or I've got a blend or whatever, but I never seem to be keeping up with the market. And when I call and ask, it's all these excuses all the time, and they talk over my head here, and it's just not working right now. What I did is I said, okay, bring in your statements and we'll take a look at everything. And so as we did that analysis, yes, they were about a 60-40 weighting, but what I saw were several signs, I would say maybe 3 things that indicated to me that their advisor is either lazy or they don't know what they're doing. Okay. I mean, one of those 2 things. Okay. And here's how I can tell really quick is they had a Roth account. And I was like, great, you guys have a Roth IRA. And I started looking at the allocation in there and it was 60-40. Okay. And I was like, so a Roth IRA, the purpose of a Roth is growth, 100% growth, right? Because it's completely tax-free. Mm-hmm. So if you have a Roth, I want it to be pedal down like the cruise is stuck on 100 miles an hour. That needs to be an account that is pursuing risk all the time. And so, when I look at their portfolio, their Roth account was in a 60-40. I was like, why are there bonds in your growth account? And he was like, let me see that thing. Almost it was like, give me that statement.
Is this real?
No way. And I was like, look, right there. I was like, look at this. It's, bonds, averaging 1% per year. And I was like, I mean, yes, we need to have some defensive money, but why is it in your Roth IRA? Okay, that's like your sports car, but you're stuck in, you can only go to first or second gear in that thing. And he's like, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense, And then I was like, okay, let's look at your bigger tax deferred account, your IRA that is producing your income. And I was like, why do you have all these risky AI stocks in there? Like this NVIDIA and all these things, that is violently volatile in something that is supposed to provide you consistent, steady income for the rest of your life. He's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it's been kind of nice here for, a few years here, but yeah, I mean, that's scary to see the markets as they come down, if they crash, that's my livelihood. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I said, okay, what kind of income? We were talking through their income plan. He's like, well, they said we can pull out our dividends here that's coming out of this portfolio, and they're only pulling 2.5%. Luckily, they've got a $3 million portfolio. So 2.5 was barely giving them, what they needed. But I was like, the reason you're only getting 2.5 is because they haven't really shopped it around and found you better, dividend paying or income focused investments. So many areas that need to be addressed. And I said, let me put a plan together. And I say this is what the wealthy do, because when you start to see your low or no risk money, when you start to see it being, nice and defensive, and that that's going to provide you income no matter what happens in the market, that gives you so much peace of mind, so much, low stress, right? Yeah. And we can actually pull a little bit more because we don't have to plan on a market crash. Okay. So we might be able to get maybe a 4, 5, 6% income, from our income positions there. So that provides much better income. Nowadays, there's some really, really good options to actually even see some nice growth potentially in that low risk bucket. Okay. So even your low risk money, we need to make sure that money never retires, because if you've just got it in bland bond funds averaging 1% per year, and then you're paying an advisor fee of 1% per year or 1.5% per year, that's eating up all of your growth. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we look at that first. The growth money then, we want to pursue that in the right tax status. So as I talked about in the first segment, if you've missed it there, check out our podcast. But I talked about where do we want to pursue growth in our portfolio? Well, that's going to be over in our Roth IRAs because it's tax-free. And so what we find is when you get this portfolio set up properly, year after year after year, and as the market swings and different things happen, the wealthy portfolios just seem to always be in the right position. Do they not, Mark?
Yeah.
You see these headlines and Warren Buffett, or all
Kevin
these people.
O'Leary, Susie Orman.
It's like they never make a mistake. They've always thought through these things and, always know what to say. And some of that might be BS, but.
In their defense, they've been doing it their entire lives. In our defense, we've been thinking real seriously about this for the past 4 or 5 years.
That's right. And they have a team. They've got a team in place. They've got people that they say, okay, and if you're working with $250 million or $1 billion, whatever, yes, so that's different problems. You're focused on different things. But for you listening here in Charleston, if you've saved $500,000 or more and you're heading towards retirement, or if you're in retirement right now, this is essential. You can act like the wealthy. Okay, you can act like it here by putting this plan together here that focuses. And so here's what I would do with you is I would say, okay, let's start with this. Let's clear the table, simplify things. I would start off with, okay, how much income do you need? If you could, I would love for you to work the numbers out before you come into our first meeting. Work through your budget. How much do you need for your needs, your standard of living there? And then how much do you want for your discretionary? Okay, so it might be, let's throw some hypothetical numbers. Let's say you need $5,000 a month, but you want an extra $2,000. So $7,000 is my number, Brandon. If you need and want $7,000 a month, that's great. Now I know what I need to solve for. We also need to look at which accounts do we need to tap first. Which ones are we going to open the valve on first, right? Because there's certain accounts that we want to start receiving income from first. And then others we want to try to let grow and build and kind of mature like a nice wine, because then, we start identifying where's our second bucket, maybe as far as time horizon, this bucket we're going to allocate for 5 years from now. So we can be a little more aggressive there because if the markets crash, nobody's going to be happy, but at least we've got some time to let that thing work its way back up. What we do know is the market moves so fast, right? It's going to go down so fast, so deep, but it's going to probably recover over some time. We don't know how quick it would recover, but if that money there, we've allocated it for 5 years from now, then, that's okay. We're not going to it doesn't affect our daily, monthly income, right? That money is already protected. And then, of course, the last bucket might be money that you never touch because we're pursuing 100% growth, 100% risk, right? That's where our AI and NVIDIA and, all these other companies are going to be. And that's probably where our Roth IRA is going to be sitting. So then, yes, that's how we start building this thing like the wealthy. And this is what I'm describing here in depth is called our customized retirement blueprint. Just like a blueprint, if you were to go build a house, $1 million house, you don't even start without getting your blueprints done. You look at them with your architect. I don't like this. I want that. And I want this outdoor kitchen. Yeah. We need a pool, right? You're tailoring this thing to exactly what you want for your lifestyle. That's what your plan needs to also do. We need to have a retirement plan that focuses on the income and the lifestyle that you want, only taking the risk that you're comfortable with, right? Not 1% more of risk. And then thirdly, being as tax efficient with every single dollar as we can. Okay. So your income, your risk, your tax efficiency, that's what your retirement blueprint focuses on. And when that is in place, the retirement that you have dreamed of becomes a reality.
Yeah.
Right. Your stress is way down. You're like, man, I don't even remember the last time I looked at what the markets were doing. Like Brandon's got our plan together. We've got 6 figures of income coming in here and I'm just trying to get healthy and I'm trying to make sure I'm here for another year and to see my kids and grandkids and all these things. Or you're focusing on the stuff that truly matters. Right? Not on the stress of the markets and running out of money or a market crash.
That's right.
Okay. Because you did the hard work. So yes, so this is our customized retirement blueprint. If you've saved $500,000 or more, it's time to start acting like the wealthy. Let's put this retirement blueprint together. Pick up the phone. Our number, let me give it to you real quick. Pick up the phone. You can call us or text us. The number is 843-890-2400. Again, 843-890-2400. Tanya is standing by waiting for your call, or you can shoot a text. Just text the word blueprint. We'll start getting you ready to have your very own customized retirement blueprint.
Brandon Bowen wants to give you that life where you don't have to worry about and watch the news every single day. 843-890-2400. You can call, you can text, you can also meet the team and schedule that consultation from the homepage at bowenwealth.com.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.